It's mock draft season, and I got a good one for you today. Welcome to Mock the Mock, where we take a look at someone else's mock draft. And I'm Mock to give you my views, thoughts, and opinions, and what's crack-a-lackin'. It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become a bro, and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up. If you enjoy the content, as always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead, switch on over. It's Dane Brugler from The Athletic, a great football mind. I suggest you check him out, but we'll be taking a look at his mock draft today. Special thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring the video. You could save 20% and get free shipping when you use promo code Broshmo at checkout. So if you want to, trim up the nether regions, get it smelling all nice for that significant other, then use promo code Broshmo. Let's go ahead and get into this sucker. All right. So I believe Dane Brugler, with this, he did every team. So he's going to include the teams that don't have first-round picks. So let's go ahead and look at this suckers. Bryce Young going to the Houston Texans. For me, this is the most obvious pick. This is a team that just needs a freaking quarterback, man. The Texans do. And people be like, oh, he doesn't have enough around him. And it's like, then do that. Gather guys in free agency. It's not like grabbing rookie talent means that, oh, you've built around your quarterback. Just go get some veterans in there and try to creep towards average, whether it's getting more playmakers or improving the offensive interior. Just go ahead, grab your quarterback. You're in a position to get one. Bryce Young's definitely will it warrants a first overall selection, in my opinion. Some teams will be scared of size. And if you're like, I'm a no-go because of size, then it's like, we know, we just can't, there's no common ground here with me and you. I can look past it. You can't. So we're going to look we're going to think two different ways about it. So it's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. Just understand, I look at this, good pick. You may look at it, bad pick. Neither are wrong, or at least right now. All right, let's go ahead to the Chicago Bears. They go Will Anderson, so you get that nasty edge rusher. I think also with Matt Eberflus, a guy like Jalen Carter is definitely on the table. They added DeForest Buckner. They used a first-round pick to get him, and oh man, he loved DeForest Buckner. He probably loved Jalen Carter. Either or, you get one of the top non-quarterback prospects available. Detroit Lions go Jalen Carter. Let's see. With Matthew Stafford out for the foreseeable future. Okay, they're talking about why they may get this pick. Blah, blah, blah. With his body control, explosive power, Jalen Carter is a tough player to contain on the interior. And in Carter and Lee McNeil, the Lions would have one of the best young defensive tackle duos in the NFL, and I can't argue with that. I still think some way, somehow get off Jared Goff's deal, and then just if you're not sold on this quarterback class, you don't necessarily have to go in on it. If you're at least not sold on anyone outside of Bryce Young. If you feel like CJ Stroud's not a big enough upgrade, just go ahead and get a bridge option. There's going to be a few available, whether it's Jacoby Brissett or Jimmy G. There's going to be a few available out there in free agency, so I'm okay with this. Then the Seattle Seahawks go Myles Murphy. I love Myles Murphy, man. For a lot of reasons why Von Walker went number 1 last year, Myles Murphy should come off the board early on draft weekend. Yeah, the dude's going to test how well. He has got great length, great physical tools, just needs a little polish to his game. And honestly, adding in a pass rusher like that, Seattle, I'd love that. Paired up with Boye Mafe. You got Nwosu. So solid. They also got Darrell Taylor. But, I mean, pass rush is kind of like the corner position, man. If you don't have an elite guy there, then it's going to be a bit volatile. So getting a variety of different guys that could rush the passer also in a variety of different ways. I mean, look at the Bills, man. They got a plethora, a beautiful rotation of pass rushers. And it has done wonders for that defensive line. All right, this is where we see CJ Stroud come off the board to the Carolina Panthers. I feel like the Panthers have to go quarterback. They really do. I could understand if you're not sold on Stroud because of the lack of his ability to improvise, like his performance outside of structure. It's not great. Like he's very much a rhythm passer, but he is also a guy with a very, very special arm. This guy was dropping dots against Michigan, and honestly, the times that he looked out of place was when they got pressure. So is that something like we saw this with Zach Wilson going to the NFL, where inside structure he's not half bad, but like once pressure hits, man, it's a different story. So it's like I think CJ Stroud's a better prospect than Zach Wilson, but honestly he's got the better size, but I think those are valid concerns, which is why if you checked out my big board, why he places where he places. All right, on to the Philadelphia Eagles. Brian Ambarazi, general manager. Howie Roseman won't need any convincing to target the defensive lineman, especially a prospect like Brian Brazee, who has the athletic traits and intangibles worthy of a top 10 pick. Can't agree. Jordan Davis and Brazee on the interior would be a problem for blockers. Yes, I agree with that. I like that pick a lot. Eagles picking here at 6, man. It's kind of like if someone falls to him, then that's fine. But Brian Brazee sitting right there, it would be nice. You got Paris Johnson going to the Cardinals. I get it. With DJ Humphries hurt, you have what Beachum. He's up there in dog years. So we're maybe grabbing an offensive tackle would be ideal and nice. I just think the pass rush or lack thereof pass rush and the just the lack of talent in the cornerback room is just such a big dire need that if I have guys like I have Keely Ringo above Paris Johnson on my big board, or even guys that are close in that vicinity to Paris Johnson like Tyree Wilson, like I would have to think hard about taking one of those guys over Paris Johnson. I would. The Green Bay Packers, matter of fact, go with Tyree Wilson. Let's see. So they do talk about of the last 12 first-round picks the Packers have made, only one's been on the offensive side of the football. Oh, I didn't know his grandfather played for the Packers, Peter Skronsky. But, I mean, we've seen how abysmal that Packers defense has been. Very underwhelming this season. Whether it's like the secondary is just all out of sync, all out of sorts. Adrian Amos is having his career worst year. You got just how soft the run defense is. So, yeah, grabbing Wilson is not bad. A good versatile player there. So, I'm not against it. I mean, Packers could go a variety of different ways. The Las Vegas Raiders take Christian Gonzalez. I know Dane Brugler is very high on Gonzalez, made his freaks list. Adding him to the Raiders with Josh McDaniels there. Patrick Graham, I think that would be nice. You got, you could pop Nate Hobbs back into the slot, though he's a guy could succeed on the outside. I think Rock Ya-Sin has been solid this year. I really think a lot of the problems with the Raider defense has come with the pass rush, the lack thereof. Outside of Max Crosby, the pass rush has been super underwhelming. I understand all the top defensive line in general options are off the board, so it kind of forces your hand. So I do understand that. I do get that. Christian Gonzalez is a good addition to the squad. Then we got the Houston Texans via the Cleveland Browns go Peter Skoronsky. So I guess you are potentially looking at this from two different angles. A guy that can play, I think, any position on the offensive line, whether you want him at right tackle to take over for Titus Howard, or have him play that right guard spot, because I believe Kenyon Green's playing left guard. I might have that backwards, but just keep it at it. I mean, especially if they retain Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith's a guy that wants to run the ball and run it well. You just get more protection for your quarterback of the future as well. So it's like honestly kind of a nice pick. I like it. And Peter Skoronski's just a really good football player. It's just you wonder how much teams will knock him down their boards because of the limitations. And then Jacksonville Jaguars take Quentin Johnston. So that's a fierce receiving core with Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. Oh man, Trevor Lawrence would have no excuse to not succeed with those guys. I'm obviously a bit higher on Johnston than probably a majority, though. I have him inside my top 10. Right here, he goes at 11 though, so that's fine. Oh man, I love him, dude. I'm just reading Nate Tice's tweet. Nate Tice is also a great follow on Twitter, dude. The Pittsburgh Steelers go Keely Ringo. I think Joey Porter would be fun here because of, he comes from Penn State. But Keely Ringo, man, he's got a size and skill set that can play man. I think more ideally he's a zone guy because I think there might be some he's more laterally challenged than some believe. That's how I feel right now. Honestly, you can't really go wrong. Keely Ringo is my top corner. We've seen with Mike Tomlin's defenses that he's willing to change what they do coverage-wise. He's flirted with being a cover 3 team, a man coverage heavy team. Is a cat that is willing to embrace whatever he feels he can get the most out of his players. So we got the Detroit Lions going Joey Porter. So they upgrade one Penn State corner with another. So Amani Oruwari is going to be nice depth. You got also, Jerry Jacobs? Good depth. Joey Porter. Add that next to Jeffrey Okudah. That's great. The cornerback is such a volatile position. You just want to add competition, talent. If you really, really like a guy, you just can't. I know there's going to be a lot of Jerry Jacob truthers, but if that's a guy you have in your back pocket as depth, that just speaks to how good the cornerback room is. He's played pretty well since being called upon. He actually played pretty well last year, too. Indianapolis Colts, they go Will Levis. No brainer. Colts need a quarterback. Will Levis. I don't think he falls out of the top 15. The tools are just too tooly. And this is a guy we've seen produce well in an NFL scheme under one former and one now NFL play caller. Struggle to elevate the Kentucky offense. I didn't know that that Kentucky fired their OC. That's wild. I guess former college coach, but he used to be the quarterback coach for the Niners. Levis's coach before that was Liam Cohen, I think. That's how you say his name. He's now the offensive coordinator for the Rams. So, Will Levis has a very translatable skill set. The Atlanta Falcons go Jared Verse. Love me, Jared Verse. If you've been around the channel for at least the last year, you know that I absolutely am in love with Jared Verse. That I was one of the first guys on Jared Verse. I was a big fan, and it's great to see now him getting this first round buzz, dude. It's great. And Atlanta needs pass rush and help. Seattle Seahawks take Brian Branch. This is an interesting one. Okay, I could see where Dane Brugler is going, because I was like, okay, so Brian Branch, I don't think necessarily Seahawks will have him play safety. He'll probably come in and play slot immediately and eventually move to safety as they are able to get off certain guys' contracts there at the safety position. But Kobe Bryant's done a very good job in the slot. But here he says, talks about moving Bryant back to the outside, which outside of Wolin, like their other outside corner, what is it, Michael Jackson? Hee. It was a terrible Michael Jackson impression. Could definitely use upgraded. So I could see a way that this works, man. Brian Branch is just a heck of a football player. All right, the Los Angeles Chargers go Lukas Van Ness. This is the highest I've seen Lukas Van Ness go. And, like, yeah, he's a bit unpolished, but this dude, from a physical standpoint, physical tools, like, this guy is like a grizzly bear. Like, this dude is violent, dude. I love it. And he's really just been used, like, not even as a starter there at Iowa. Like, he'll come off the bench and then they just keep him in the game because he's just so good. So, yeah, that would be nice for the Chargers. They get a very, because you look at his size, a very versatile defensive lineman. Then you got New England Patriots going Jordan Addison. Jakobi Meyers is a free agent after this season. Because I always mention, like, why I'd be hesitant to go with a guy that could probably come in and do well in the slot. But Jordan, and that's mainly when we talk about Jaxon Smith-Njigba, but Jordan Addison is a guy that I think could also do exceptionally well in the slot, but we've seen he can win on the outside as well. So with Myers as a free agent, this does make a ton of sense, and honestly, Addison's a guy that could go higher. Tampa Bay Buccaneers go Cam Smith, big fan. Jameel Dean and Sean Murphy-Bunting are both free agents, as said on line one, and I don't know if they could keep one of those guys. I don't think they could financially do it. So grabbing a corner, coming there, play next to Carlton Davis, I think would be key. So this is definitely probably one of the areas a lot of people are going to be drafting for the Bucs. The Washington Commanders go Broderick Jones. So everyone keeps talking about Sam Cosmi moving into guard, and I hate it because I think he plays exceptionally well at right tackle. They do have Charles Leno, but like if anything, I think if I'm drafting Broderick Jones, I'm just moving on from Leno, which is weird because Leno's actually been solid, and I get it. Cosmi, like, he could probably move into guard and be like literally just as good, but it's like he's doing fine at right tackle. I don't want to move him out. But Broderick Jones, man, another guy that just needs more polish in this class, so he's probably one of these more mid to late first round guys. Bijan Robinson going to the Baltimore Ravens. J.K. Dobbins will return this week or next week. But injuries have been a thing. Can you imagine Lamar and Bijan in the same backfield? That's just a nightmare. And Bijan, low-key, is a really good receiving threat out of the backfield. All right, we have at 22. The New York Jets going Trenton Simpson. Yo, straight up, like, I know this might be something that Robert Saleh doesn't do, but can you imagine him getting a guy with a very similar style to Fred Warner? I would love it, dude. Trent Simpson definitely first line, like, should be first linebacker off the board, and probably the only one really worth the first round grade. Cincinnati Bengals, Michael Mayer. Yeah, I guess Hayden Hurst really isn't a long-term answer. Drew Sample's fine, but more of a tight end too. So, like, yeah, if there's not a tackle you want to take here, Michael Mayer is exceptionally good value. He is really high on my big board, so this would be a very good value pick. Good weapon too for for the Bengals. Oh my gosh, why did I blank? I was reading at the same time. I didn't know Michael Mayer's team was the Bengals. That's wild. That's perfect. All right, Drew Sanders going to the Giants. So, okay, I literally just made a statement, and I'm going to stick by it. I don't think Drew Sanders, I get it from like an athletic and physical standpoint. He could warrant a first-round selection. It's just he's playing linebacker, like off coverage linebacker or off ball linebacker for the first time since he was a senior in high school. And the missed tackles are kind of a thing. I mean, he could be freaky enough to warrant someone taking a shot on him. I kind of like his value better in the first round. He is still a top 50 player for me, which honestly, if you're top 50, that warrants a team in the back end of the first round to look at and possibly take you. So I can't say the value is too far off. The Denver Broncos go Nolan Smith. The torn pec will play a role into how teams view where they're willing to take him. Going to the Denver Broncos here, man. Pass rush. That's just wild. But it's like Nolan Smith, man, he's played off coverage too. So it's not like he's a one-trick pony. He's just better Nick Bonito at this point. So though Nick Bonito, it was way more proven in coverage coming out than Nolan Smith, but the pass rush upside of Nolan Smith, in terms of what he is as an athlete, could be scary. So I don't know, man. This is a weird one for Denver. I'm pretty sure Dane Brugler, he's not a big fan of this tackle class. He views a lot of guys as day 2. So I don't know. We'll see. Tennessee Titans go Darnell Washington, the tight end out of Georgia. So I mean, this kind of like begs to like this just solidifies what I just said in terms of Brugler's not a big fan of the offensive tackle class after like the first 3 guys. That he sees a lot of guys as these more day 2 prospects, which because the Titans they would love to get them, I would say, a left tackle of the future, or shoot, man, like Osiris Torrance I think could warrant a selection here. Washington, though, gives them a very good blocking tight end. Because, I mean, if you think of Chig Okonkwo, he's more of this H-back tight end 2. So can you imagine that as a pairing? Dude, your tight end 2 spots are set for the next 3 years. Beautiful. Not necessarily a high value pick, but I like it because, I mean, Washington fits what this offense does. And then the Cowboys go Devon Witherspoon. This guy, he was in my top 50, so could warrant a selection here. I do like them adding more guys in the cornerback room, especially with Anthony Brown's free agent. Anthony Brown's like fine, but you could definitely upgrade from him. You haven't seen like these guys that they selected on day 2 of 2021, Kelvin Joseph, Nahshon Wright. Really, they really haven't emerged. He talks about Jordan Lewis being hurt and only has 1 year left on his deal, but Bland has really done a good job of filling in the slot. So grabbing that other outside guy, Devon Witherspoon, I think it's definitely something to consider. I'm a big fan of Witherspoon, so can't wait to see him at the Senior Bowl. All right, what else we got going on here? Okay, here's Osiris Torrance going to the Bills. They have a guard problem. Doesn't matter which guard spot, they have a guard problem. Saffold, he's washed at this point. He is a shadow of his former self. The other side, they've had Ryan Bates start in, and he could definitely be upgraded from. I think they've had someone else because Bates has been hurt. Or no, it's Saffold that's been hurt. I can't remember who. Regardless, the guard spot's a problem area. Bills, they could kind of take whatever they want in this class, so I like this pick. Minnesota Vikings, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Jigba's a very good after the catch target. So pairing him up with Justin Jefferson sounds really sexy. KJ Osborne really hasn't emerged as that third option in the receiving room, or at least not this year. He's been very hit or miss this year. Thielen, don't know if they could get off his contract just yet, but he is a guy that is also getting older. So maybe maybe you propel Osborne into that outside role. Maybe you think Jaxon Smith-Njigba could get it done. I was listening to an interview with Dane Brugler and talking about how the NFL is anywhere from a first to a third round grade on Jaxon Smith-Njigba, and it makes all the sense in the world. Kansas City Chiefs go Jalen Hyatt. Dang. I get it. You get this exceptionally speedy threat that you have missed since Tyreek Hill has left, or since you moved on from Tyreek Hill. MVS is a free agent, but he isn't really that speedy threat that Tyreek Hill was. So Hyatt, like, I still feel like this team should and rather would go defense, though I don't dislike the pick. I can at least understand it. All right, on to the Philadelphia Eagles. Jahmyr Gibbs, Miles Sanders is a free agent. They have 2 first-round picks. They get a run back. This has been a very popular one. It makes sense. I don't know if I don't really need to talk much about this one, and because the Dolphins gave up or forfeited their first-round pick, there's only 31 picks. Now let's look at the other teams that are drafting. Their first pick will be outside the first round. As we got the Los Angeles Rams going, B.J. Ojulari. I love this. This team was willing to give up 2 first-rounders for Brian Burns, so they know their pass rush is cheeks. So B.J. Ojulari, a guy that's been exceptionally productive throughout his career there at LSU. I like it. Pair him up with Leonard Floyd, too. New Orleans Saints go Mozzie Smith. This one's interesting. Saints are in quarterback purgatory right now. That's right. The Saints don't like a second-round quarterback option. Defense tackle is another potential need. Mozzie Smith was number 1 on Bruce Feldman's freaks list. I don't think I'm there yet. I got him more in the mid-day 2 area, but okay. Cleveland Browns, Keanu Benton. We're going to see more of him at the Senior Bowl, and I can't wait. Benton's just a freaking monster of a man. A guy that needs a bit more polish, that needs to learn to work with leverage a bit better, but former wrestler, knows how to use his hands. He's very good at the hand fight. Sometimes there will be, you notice this in the run game, where he will be so into winning the rep against the guy, he kind of gets led to the spot that the blocker needs him to be to move out the way and create holes. So that's another aspect of this game that needs a little touch up. But Benton he's a big boy. Freaking Miami Dolphins, Devin Achane. I can't escape Dolphins not going running back. I get it. Speed. Mike McDaniels loves speed. Jeff Wilson, speed. Raheem Mostert, speed. I get it. I understand it. And to be fair, I have come around a bit to Achane. You can check that out. I've talked about him this week in the stock report video. I talked about him in my big board video earlier today. All right, what else? So these are, San Francisco 49ers. Zacch Pickens, another guy to check out at the Senior Bowl. A guy that has a lot of upside. It's just he's never been consistent. We've seen flashes. Just nothing has really come to fruition with him just yet. I'm excited to see what he does at the Senior Bowl, but definitely got to put on your radar. I think he's just outside my top 100, but I am a big fan of this interior class. Honestly, the defensive line class in general is just freaking beautiful. It really is, and I think that's the last one here. Yeah. Here, I'm gonna go with awesome. This was awesome. I really enjoyed this. See that? Smiley face means I enjoyed it. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.